Discomfort is quietly killing you. Right now, in this moment, some part of you is arranging your entire life around avoiding one thing: discomfort. The cold shower you skip, the hard conversation you delay, the workout you postpone until you feel ready. And you never feel ready. You tell yourself you're being smart, careful, balanced. But there's a man from 2,000 years ago who would look at your life and see something else entirely. He would see a prison. And the strangest part? He built the opposite of that prison on purpose, by chasing the very thing you spend all day running from. Why would anyone do that? Why would one of the most respected men in Rome walk through the streets deliberately trying to feel worse? Rome, 1st century before Christ. The sun is punishing. The streets are packed with senators, merchants, and soldiers, and almost every one of them is shaded. Hats, servants, cool colonnades. Every one of them except one man. He walks straight down the center of the road bareheaded, letting the heat pour over him. His tunic is dark and coarse when the fashion is bright purple silk. His feet are bare when other men of his rank would never be caught without fine sandals. People stare, some laugh, some whisper that he has lost his mind. His name is Cato, and he is doing this on purpose. Not because he is poor, he is wealthy. Not because he has to, he chooses to. Every uncomfortable thing about his day has been deliberately arranged. But here is what almost no one watching him understood. Cato was not punishing himself. He was training. Every stare he absorbed, every drop of sweat, every ache in his bare feet was a rep. Like a soldier drilling before a battle nobody else could see coming, because Cato had realized something that terrified him. A man who has never suffered on purpose will be destroyed by suffering he did not choose. And Rome, he knew, was about to hand him more suffering than any man could imagine. So while everyone else chased softness, Cato went looking for the hard edge of life and pressed himself against it again and again. But the real test had not arrived yet. And when it did, everything he had practiced would be put on trial in a single, brutal moment. To understand why Cato did this, you have to understand the fear that drives almost every human being alive, including you. It is not the fear of pain itself. It is the fear of the anticipation of pain. Think about it. The cold shower is never as bad as the 10 minutes you spend dreading it. The confrontation is rarely as violent as the hours you spend rehearsing it. The fear lives in the waiting room, not in the event. And the Stoics discovered that this fear has a specific, addictive shape. The more you avoid discomfort, the larger it grows in your mind. Avoid it once, and it whispers. Avoid it for a month, and it screams. Avoid it for years, and it becomes the invisible warden of your entire life, quietly deciding what you are allowed to attempt and what you must never try. You have felt this. The morning you did not want to get out of bed, and the longer you lay there, the heavier the day became. The message you were afraid to send that sat unsent for a week, growing more impossible by the hour. The dream you kept at arm's length, because starting meant risking the discomfort of being bad at something new. Cato understood that this warden could not be reasoned with. It could not be argued away with positive thinking. It could only be starved, and the only way to starve it was to walk directly at the thing it told you to avoid, voluntarily, calmly, before you were forced to. So Cato manufactured hardship. He practiced hunger when there was a feast. He practiced cold when there was warmth. He practiced humiliation, walking through jeering crowds, so that the sting of other people's opinions would lose its power over him. He was inoculating himself, a small dose of suffering now, to build immunity against the crushing dose later, and that crushing dose was coming. Rome was sliding toward civil war. The republic Cato loved was cracking, and a day was approaching when this man would have to make a choice that would demand every ounce of hardness he had spent his life building. The question was no longer whether Cato was strong. The question was whether anyone could truly train themselves to face the unthinkable, or whether, in the final moment, the body always breaks. That moment was almost here. Here is where it gets strange. The very thing that looked like madness to the citizens of Rome is now being proven correct by modern neuroscience. Your brain has a threat detection system, and at the center of it sits a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. Its job is to scream danger and flood your body with the urge to flee. But that system has a flaw the Stoics exploited 2,000 years before we had the word for it. It cannot tell the difference between real danger and imagined danger. And it can be trained. When you voluntarily expose yourself to a controlled, uncomfortable stress, cold, hunger, hard effort, social risk, and you survive it calmly, your brain quietly updates its files. It learns, this thing I feared did not destroy me. Scientists call this stress inoculation. The Stoics simply called it wisdom. Each voluntary discomfort is a message sent to the deepest, most animal part of your mind, telling it to stand down. And over time, the warden loses its grip. This is the turning point that Cato lived by, and it is the single insight that separates the resilient from the fragile. It is this: discomfort is not your enemy. Discomfort is information, and it is a gym. The Stoic philosopher Seneca, a wealthy, powerful man who could have lived in total luxury, wrote a letter that has survived the centuries. In it, he gave advice that sounds insane to modern ears. Set aside a number of days, he wrote, in which you eat only the plainest food, wear only the roughest clothes, and sleep on the hard ground. And then ask yourself one question: is this the condition that I so feared? Read that again. Seneca deliberately practiced poverty while he was rich. Why? Because he understood that the man who has already tasted the worst has nothing left to fear. If you have voluntarily gone hungry, hunger cannot threaten you. If you have voluntarily been cold, cold cannot rule you. If you have voluntarily faced rejection, the fear of rejection cannot cage you. You cannot be blackmailed by a loss you have already rehearsed. And this is the part that reaches across 2,000 years and grabs you by the collar. Every comfort you cling to is a potential weapon in the hands of fate. The more things you cannot live without, the more ways the world has to break you. But every discomfort you willingly embrace is a chain removed. This is the freedom Cato was building, one uncomfortable step at a time. And when his final test came, it revealed exactly what that training had made of him. In his last days, with the Republic falling and defeat certain, Cato faced the end with a calm that stunned everyone around him. He was not shaken because he had spent a lifetime refusing to be shaken by smaller things. The man who had practiced the hard road every single day did not flinch when the hardest road finally arrived. That was the whole point. That was what all of it had been for. So let's return to the question we started with. Why would a wealthy, respected man chase the very discomfort you spend your life avoiding? Now you know, because he understood that comfort and freedom cannot occupy the same life. Every time you flee discomfort, you hand a piece of your freedom to the fear, and every time you walk toward it on purpose, you take that piece back. So here is what you do tonight. Something small, something real, something you can begin before you sleep. Choose one discomfort and take it voluntarily. Make the shower cold for the last 30 seconds and breathe through it slowly instead of gasping. Skip one meal and sit calmly with the hunger, watching it rise and fall without obeying it. Put your phone in another room and let yourself feel the itch of boredom without reaching for relief. Say the hard thing you have been avoiding. Send the message, make the call, ask the question. The specific act does not matter. What matters is the message you are sending to that ancient alarm system in your brain. I chose this. I am not afraid of it. I am the one in control. Do it once, and it is a moment. Do it every single day, and it becomes an identity. You stop being the man who is managed by his comforts and become the man who commands himself. That is not a fantasy. That is a practice, and it is available to you the moment this video ends. Comfort feels like a gift, but it is quietly building the cage you will one day beg to escape. The Stoics knew the way out, and it was never complicated. It was only hard. Choose the difficult thing on purpose today, because the discomfort you master in private is the strength no one will be able to take from you in public. Start with one small hard thing tonight and watch how quickly the warden loses its voice. If this reached something in you, subscribe and stay, because the mind you are building is worth showing up for, one uncomfortable rep at a time.